Welcome to the Success Ascent. My name is Pat Mancuso, and I'm the creator host of our show. I am extremely excited today, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome Tommy Breedlove to our episode. Now, you are going to love this gentleman, and let me tell you a little bit about him before we get started. So Tommy Breedlove is a Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling author of the book Legendary. He's an Atlanta-based business, relationship, and mindset coach who is regularly requested as a keynote speaker at global events. Tommy started his 20-year career at one of the largest financial consulting firms in the world and eventually became a shareholder of the International Practice Leader and a member of the board of directors of one of the largest accounting firms in the U.S. Now, Tommy, I don't picture you as an accountant, so that might be somewhere we'll have to probe today. At the top of his career, Tommy experienced a transformational moment, inspiring him to walk away from the corporate world to change his life and his true calling and follow. Tommy now serves clients and audiences everywhere by empowering them to build and live legendary lives, which we're going to talk about today. He guides people to discover the life of significance while building a lasting legacy. The simple tools he shares is how to show you to work in your zone of brilliance, and obtain financial freedom and live with meaning and balance. Two important words, I think, in our world today. The goal is to help everybody become the person they've always wanted to be. So, Tommy, welcome to the show.
Hey, brother. So good to be here on the Success Ascent community. And yeah, you're right. If I was still in the financial accounting and consulting world, we would not be having this conversation.
Probably not. Ironically, that's where I thought I wanted to start too. So I have a little fun with our guest, Tommy, and I say, okay, that was Tommy on paper. Tell us something about Tommy that's not on paper.
Yeah, I think, and this just came out last weekend when I was running a conference, I think there's about 7.5 billion people-ish in the world. I think I'm the only human being on earth that doesn't like spaghetti, marinara, and meatballs. I haven't met anybody else, so I maybe not be the only one, but I realize I really don't like that dish.
Oh, my. Well, Tommy, this might be a short interview because although I don't look Italian, I am Italian, and I won't take it personally. However, you know what? There's always one, right?
There's always one.
Yep, it's a great club. I love it. So, as you know, Tommy, on the Success Ascent, we talk about the journey of entrepreneurs, and obviously you are an entrepreneur and you've gone on this journey and you walked away from your corporate environment, which a lot of entrepreneurs do. They go, you know what, I love that, and I'm ready for the next step in my journey. And the Success Ascent is always about the upward journey. We know sometimes it's not completely up, sometimes it's sideways, sometimes it's backwards. So let's talk about, what have you learned being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I come from motherships. I was big financial consulting, public accounting, mergers and acquisitions firms. And I forgot how lucky we were to have world-class staff, world-class systems, world-class processes, world-class technology, and an army of very smart people. And then I hang up my shingle and realize it's just me. And some of the mistakes I made at the very beginning is I quit large financial. I was a senior partner international practice leader. Here I go to go chase this entrepreneur dream full of purpose, meaning, and make an impact in the world. And guess what I do? I started a financial consulting, M&A, and public accounting firm out of total fear. And then I chased all these shiny objects for 3 or 4 years. And it wasn't until I got laser focused, really concentrated on the impact I want to make in the community I want to make with the people I want to make it with, and really found my calling, what I call my zone of brilliance. That's when success, growth, scale, profitability, and I really was able to find some footing in the entrepreneurial world. And that took we're about 8-9 years in, but I fought and fiddled and messed around for 3 or 4 years, and then started getting laser focused. And once I became laser focused and we didn't compromise where we wanted to go, who we wanted to serve, and how we wanted to do it, man, between the book and all the programs we built, it's just been world-class and what I would call badass.
I love that term as well. So that's very common. Like, it's very common that we start with kind of being broad because we think that's what we need to do. So is there anything you could remember in, like, what was the trigger for you to niche down? Like, what was that defining moment for you to niche down?
Yeah, I think it came from me finally listening to what people were telling me and what people were asking me for. I thought they just wanted to be make more money, have more success in their life, but what they really wanted to be. And I'm a specialist in executive and entrepreneurial men. Women, we haven't forgot about you. We're starting that in 2022. We haven't forgot about you. We're starting our programs in 2022 for that. And it wasn't just money, success, and power they wanted. They wanted to be better leaders. They wanted to be better in their relationships. They wanted to be better fathers. And they didn't want to do that without compromising their ambition or drive. And so when I brought in my holistic skill set, not just my understanding profitability and P&Ls and governance and board seats and all the leadership stuff, but when I started bringing in the human stuff, and because I was in that world and I felt the profit burden, the employment burden, I know what big decisions and tough decisions and making decisions that are unpopular, both at home and at family, and I know the burdens that carry that from ambitious people at home. It's when we really focused in on that community, which is an underserved community that a lot of times these entrepreneurs and executives, they feel alone.
Right.
They can't ask for help. They don't have all the answers. They need a community and connection and trust with people who face the same issues that they can have real, authentic conversations with that help them move forward. Because I've been in that seat. I've got all the scars and failures and, to prove it. And I think once we really started listening, really laser focusing and building our products and everything we do around their needs,
right,
success was just ultimately going to happen.
So when you were going through that journey, like what was something that, and you've got this background in working for high level companies within high level companies. So it's not like you didn't understand business. And yet entrepreneurs always experience something that they didn't expect or a ceiling that was harder for them to get through. Anything in your journey that would kind of pop to the top of your mind, and how did you break through it?
Yeah, so my transformational moment probably be a little different than what you've probably heard from in the past. I was 36 years old. I mean, my hair was on fire. On the outside, I looked like I had everything: the corner office, the fancy car, the shiny cufflinks, the tailor-made suit. And everybody said, this cat's going somewhere. I mean, I looked like somebody. I was going somewhere, and on the inside, I was crumbling. And I was filled with anger and rage and insecurity. And when the money, the power, success didn't fill me up, I turned to what I would call the Wolf of Wall Street darkness side, because I came from humble beginnings. I came from stuff that I had to overcome that I never overcame. And I was just going to outcompete, outwork, and out-hustle everybody. And it almost cost me my firm. It almost cost me my wife. And it almost cost me my life. And here's the truth. At 36 years old, I said, enough is enough. And when I tell you I made a 180, brother, and made me my full-time job, I'm talking about my mental strength, my emotional strength, my self-confidence, my self-respect, my self-love, because we can't lead others until we lead ourselves.
Right.
And with great coaching, with great therapists, with firing a lot of my friends and bringing in a sound inner circle of board of directors of friends around me, with that help, I started standing differently, talking differently, walking differently. I went from arrogance, which is insecurity on steroids, to calm, quiet confidence. And all of these entrepreneurs, corporate executives, bankers, lawyers, successful professional people started reaching out to me and said, look, man, I don't know what you did, brother. I want to take that pill. Because I didn't give up my ambition and drive, but literally my income had doubled. I went from working 80 hours a week down to about 40. Intangible success, money success, network success. But then they saw the happiness, the peace of mind, the fulfillment. They saw my marriage going from literally crumbling to the strongest it's ever been. So they were curious, like, how does he now have it all? Where It seemed like he had it all, but it was just a fake facade. And there he is. And that's when all of these people started reaching out to me, asking for not only leadership help and business help and financial help, but man, how do I be a better husband? How do I be more present? How do I be the same person at home that I am at work? How do I get more time in my life? Which entrepreneurs and executives, we struggle with that.
Right.
And so it's when I started listening and bringing in all the skills that I had worked on for 10 years and now giving it out there in the world through our one-on-one coaching, our mastermind, our retreats, our conferences. That's when success started happening.
Wow. So that's common, right? There's always that defining moment. So let me ask you this, we had more businesses start in the last 2 years than ever, right? And they start with one usually. They start with the entrepreneur who's got the idea, who's got the vision, who's got the drive, the determination. And so if you had to talk with somebody who says, Tommy, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to start this business. If you had to do it all over again, what would you do different? What would you tell them?
It goes back to the laser focus. You gotta watch for shiny object syndrome, and you got to check your ego at the door.
Okay.
Just because you started a business and have a vision for impact doesn't make you a good business person, doesn't make you a good leader, doesn't make you a good financial person, doesn't make you a good salesperson. So what is it you're truly good at doing that you love to do? Why are you starting this business? And if you laser focus in there and don't think that you know how to do everything, and I would tell them to watch out for control issues and perfectionism issues. Because in order to build a business, you've got to build a tribe. And you got to have people on your ship or on your team, or I saw the Good to Great book behind you, on your bus,
right,
who believe in what you're doing, who believe in you, lead with humility, lead with confidence, lead with authenticity, and lead with optimism, but get yourself out of the way.
Yeah.
So if you're good at technology, stay in technology. If you're good with financial accounting and numbers, stay there. Outsource the rest, bring on teams who believe in you, and stay laser focused. Don't go invest over here and then buy that real estate over there. And by the way, we're starting a technology company. And by the way, let's do some garbage pickup too. That's all over the, and I love that because entrepreneurs are optimistic and risk takers. We all are.
Right.
So we think we can do it all, but it comes at the cost of our impact, our profitability, our people. And the greats didn't do 20 things. They did one thing really well. And that's what I would say.
Well, you know, it's interesting because our consulting business that we have, we help companies, small to medium-sized companies, with the hiring piece because they just frankly don't know how to do it as entrepreneurs. And yet it's the number one thing that changes their organizations almost overnight. And so
it can break you. It's so hard to do. And you're providing an unbelievable, I'm going to tell your entire audience, hire this man. Because hiring and the impact of those decisions financially, culturally, with your customers, just in every single way, a bad hire, $100,000 bad hire, apparently the net negative ROI on that is close to $1 million. You do that math.
Oh yeah. Well, we do it with our clients and they're like shocked. They just go, whoa, I never thought that could impact, and it does. So let's shift gears a little bit. I want to, you got this book in the background. So I want to ask first. Yeah, I love it, by the way. I love it. So tell me about, like, where did the idea for the book come from? I mean, obviously it's legendary and that's who you are and what you're attempting to help folks become, but to write the book, like what prompted you to write the book? Everybody says they want to write a book. You did.
I did not want to write a book.
Interesting.
It was a 3-year fist fight of me against me. The negative perfectionism, insecure me won for 3 years. And when I decided why did I write the book? I went in a very brief part of my history, apparently my childhood, and then some of the changes and tragedies and triumphs that I experienced in my life. A few people found very interesting. Now it sounds like a lot of people found interesting. But when I didn't make it about me, there's probably only 8 pages in the book about me. And when I made it about the work, the simple tactics, and the stories that literally changed my life, from time-wise to purpose-wise to financially to mastering my mindset to intimate relationships to living the good life, when people said, write that book, Tommy, because I had all of these, I've invested so much into coaching, into my mental fortitude and my confidence and my leadership. And I wanted to take all of the books and systems and coaching that changed my life, simplify it down into an easy, digestible, actionable read. And I think that's why it's had so much commercial success. But when I stopped making the book about me and started making it about the book that literally transformed my life from living a life of fear, I was successful on the outside, but crumbling on the inside, to how do we have outside success and inner success? And I think ambitious, driven people struggle with the topics we cover in the book. And I give simple, actionable tools in your relationship, your marriage, your purpose, your life, your networking, whatever it might be, your time, that people can apply. And the reason, when I made it about others, I think that's why it's had commercial success. I think that's why it's been successful. But the second thing is, and the reason I called it legendary, and what I love about that title is, if I said Tommy Breedlove's legendary, you'd laugh me off the stage here. But it's something we can aspire to. And it has nothing to do with money and fame. It has to do with impact, and has to do with leading yourself and leading others and leaving this beautiful planet and our fellow humans better than we found them. And I think all entrepreneurs by nature want to do that.
Right.
And so for me, legendary is given to us by our communities, our friends, our family, our network, and our colleagues. And so for me, that's why we picked that title. It's something that I aspire to be. And I want to make a great impact and leave some significance in this world. So that's why we picked the title Legendary.
I love it. I love it. Well, I want to acknowledge you. I mean, when you talk, the passion, when you talk about this, I mean, you could just see the passion come through, the energy and the impact that somebody can have by listening and by taking that guidance. So I want to ask you a question. I want to touch a little bit on the book, and then I'm going to shift gears on the great things you're doing. What do you think from the book? What's the thing that people struggle with the most? What have you found?
Relationships with their significant other. 100%. We like to say our family is first. Quit lying to ourselves. Our businesses are first. Our careers are first. It's just how we're wired. If you're listening to this podcast, get over it. And let me tell you what's second, our friends, family, and network. And let me tell you what's dead last, and this paradigm is completely wrong, it's us. So that's the consistent theme I see. And I've got a lot of people in my group, executive men's masterminds, a lot of people in my one-on-one, and 100% of them struggle at some time in the relationship with their spouse and or their families. And so we have to change the paradigm.
Yeah.
We have to invest in ourselves first. How do we lead others if we can't lead ourselves? How do we love others if we don't love or respect? How do we respect others if we don't respect ourselves? And so what I help people do is, first of all, prioritize themselves. Confidence, courage, standing taller, self-respect, cultivating self-esteem to then be the best leader, wife, husband, father. It doesn't matter. Mother. We shift that paradigm because they stand taller, they lead better, they have more courage, and that voice inside your head that says, what if they figure out I don't know what I'm doing, kind of starts going away. That's what we shift. And then we double down on our family, our network, and our friends. And when we do one or two, I've experienced, I made a lot of money in my former life. It is nothing compared to what you can make when you shift this paradigm.
Yeah.
Put yourself first, family, network, friends second, and your business third. That doesn't mean you're still not spending a majority of your time in your business. It's just how you shift and prioritize your time. I still spend most of my time doing this craft.
Right.
But I choose how I'm in charge of my time. My time's not in charge of me. And so when I changed that paradigm and made it about impacting others, impacting myself, impacting my communities, success, money, profitability, time, purpose, meaning, significance, and better network, better friends. It all has manifested. So we've got to change the paradigms, but we all struggle with our relationships.
Right.
We don't prioritize it. We don't prioritize it.
And you said something which I certainly believe, and I heard it from some of my mentors along the way, is you can't give to others what you don't have to give. And so that's exactly what you're saying, right? I mean, it starts with you and it starts with who you are. And I think the other thing that, see if you agree with, is that we think we mask it, but we don't. Like if we're not right on the inside, we don't mask it. We think that others don't see it. And the actuality is they see it and feel it.
Oh, they could totally see it. And we're all, this is getting out there a little bit. If you don't think we're all energy, think about that person that walks in the room and says nothing and just deflates the entire air about it.
Yeah.
And think about that person that walks in the room and you just feel better and they haven't said anything yet. That's the energy you're bringing. How you do anything is how you do everything.
Absolutely.
And so if you're not leading yourself, if you're not loving yourself, if you're not working on your confidence, if you're not working on your soft skills, if you're not working on your mindset, if you're not working on being more significant in your life and leading yourself, that's going to come out in arrogance. That's going to come out in insecurity. It's going to come out in control, perfectionism, gossip, judgment, you name it.
Yeah.
And the whole world can feel it.
Yeah.
Here's the key. That's all right. You're not alone. We all struggle. Go to the nearest mirror. That's the problem and the solution. And what are you going to do to lean in and fix that and change some habits so that you lead yourself first, so that you will appear to the world how you want to appear to the world?
I love that. So simple. Just go look in the mirror. That's the first place to start. I love it. The problem and the solution. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the work that you're doing. And I'll kind of leave this broad. Like, what would you share for listeners that they should do? Where should they start? What focus? I'm just going to kind of let you run with that, but I'd love to have you share that because I think it'll be impactful.
Yeah. If you want to know male, female, executive, and or entrepreneur where to start, my book is in every bookstore on the planet. It's literally at the airports. And by the way, if you're not a reader, first of all, why not? Those who don't read are no better than those who can't. But I will read it to you. It's on Audible. Let me read it to you. That's where I would tell people to start.
Okay.
However, let me tell you a little about what I'm excited about is we have built a world-class executive men's retreat that we require people to go to first, where they double down and invest in their leaderships themselves, and they literally leave there better men, better leaders, better fathers, better husbands. And that's what we're excited about. And then we give them the opportunity, if they get through that okay, and we like them and they like us, to either join our community, our masterminds, our one-on-one programs, to continue to build trust with like-minded men, to connect with like-minded men, to have a board of directors where they can have real, authentic conversations about their businesses, about their partnerships, about their employees, about their wives, their lives, their family, their friends, where we constantly sharpen the pencil to be better men. So that's what I'm excited about. Is we run executive retreats, we run executive masterminds, we run executive group coaching programs, and we also do that in a corporate setting. What I'm most excited about is in 2022, we're launching the women's programs. So people ask me, why did I segregate men and women? There's only one reason, and it's the truth. And this is a sad reason. So I'm about to knock on my men a little bit, but it's the honest truth. When we start having authentic conversations about failures or about relationship issues or family issues, or we start admitting that we don't have all the answers and maybe we've made some mistakes in our businesses or in our integrity or in our life and our relationships, 7 to 8 out of 10 men, if a woman's in the room, they won't share authentically and they won't be vulnerable with it. When I say vulnerable and authentic, I hate emotionally vomiting. That's not what we're doing. We don't do that crap. We don't do that crap. I don't allow it. I don't allow whining. I don't allow victimhood. What I'm saying is when we got to get real, we got to lean in, and we sit on the board seats and these men are getting ready to speak into your business or life. Most, and I don't know why this is, men will shut down if a woman's in a room. So we give them a safe container for trust, connection. And if they've gone through my retreat where they're doubling down on themselves, they're ready to have those conversations. And so, and the women, sometimes they don't want a man in the room. So we're going to do men's programs, women programs, and eventually couples programs as well. So I'm super excited about that.
So needed. So needed, Tommy. I love it. So, so let's shift gears a little bit. I prepared you for this. What's the best advice you've ever been given, personal or business, that hopefully you followed, and what did you learn?
Participate in your own rescue. And I used to be into extreme whitewater rafting, and I decided to do this river called the Golly in West Virginia. And I hear it's one of the 5 most difficult rivers in the entire world. And I asked, it's like 5+ rated rapids, and that is river speak for world-class, dangerous, and there's a high probability if you fall out, you're dead. And so I asked the river rafting guy. Now I'm thinking about it 10, 15 years later. I'm like, why did I do that? Yeah. But I asked the river rafting guide, I was like, well, what do you do if you fall out of the boat? And the first thing he said, and I am not joking, he goes, follow the light. And I was like, oh my God, that means we're dying and drowning and dying. I was like, okay, what's option B? He goes, participate in your own rescue. And I thought, what a massive analogy for life. And what he meant is you're going to fall out of that boat in a class 5 rapid. The boat might not be able to get to you. They might not be able to get a rope to you, and no one's jumping out to save you because they will drown as well. So you got to turn over. You got to put your feet up, your head up. You got to look for the raft or look for the rope. And if you can't get to either, you've got to do your best to swim to your safety. And I was like, my God, that's the best analogy for life I've ever heard. Yeah. There's no magic pill. There's no one coming to save you. You are your worst enemy and your best asset. Wow. So you can go to the mirror, like we talked about, and fire that negative side of you and rehire the positive, abundant side of you. Double down, invest in yourself, your inner game and your outer game, to be the best leader and human you can be. And when you do that, amazing, amazing results happen in your money, your success, your happiness, your fulfillment, your relationships, and your network. Wow.
Great advice. Great advice. That might end up being the title of the episode. So, let's flip it upside down. I've prepared you for this. What's the worst advice that you've ever been given that hopefully you didn't follow? And if you did, what did you learn?
It felt wrong for me when it was said to me. I grew up pretty humbly, lower middle class. We certainly weren't the poorest folks, but we were on the bottom of the rung. And a prominent member of my family always said, well, we work so we can go on the weekends to do the things we love. And I'm like, that just sounds like an indentured servant, miserable experience.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, why can you not love what you do or want to make great impact or have purposeful work? And I couldn't put that together. It just consciously felt bad. So just work to do the things you love as opposed to love the things that you get to work on. And so honestly, I took the safe route because I financed my college. I went into accounting school. I got from the University of Georgia, good school. I was hired at Deloitte, went into the public accounting, M&A, financial consulting. I was super, super good at it, made a senior partner and a member of the board really early. Hated every moment of it.
Yeah.
Because I was chasing someone else's dream. Now, I got the golden handcuffs. Once you start making enough money and living a certain lifestyle, you're like, I mean, when I quit, I walked away from 65% of my income. So get to the point. But I was so done, and I did not want to live life the way my family lived it, and I didn't want to die with regrets.
Yeah.
So with the help of my family, my inner circle, my wife, and certain people that love me, they said, like, carpe diem, man. And I went and chased this dream, and we're looking back now 9 years later. It's the best decision we've ever made.
I love it. I love it. So, so let me take what you just said and bring it into today's world with what we have going on. I mean, we're seeing a lot of people, I think, kind of thinking the way that you're thinking. I mean, when you have 10 million jobs you can't fill, there's some things going on, right? I mean, there's other things going on, but talk to that about, like, in your travels and in your conversations, what are you hearing from people as it relates to kind of the world we're living in today?
I think from the employer side, because I work with a lot of people who employ,
right,
employers, successful entrepreneurs or executives. I think it's been an amazing shift to culture. And I'm not talking about some of the destructive social movements that are out there in the name of goodness that are doing things that are actually hurting people.
Right.
But I'm talking about the employers. What it has forced people to do is look in the mirror and know that hiring the best people in the world, hiring A players, investing in their people holistically, not just in their careers and their money, but employees want challenge. They want opportunity. They want the company to invest in their emotional growth, their mental growth, their family growth. They want them to be better people, which will then in turn be better employees, which will then in turn have better customers. And so what I'm loving that I'm seeing is this focus on culture. And I'm not talking about putting beer and ping pong, that millennial garbage, it didn't work for the millennials. It won't work for the Zs. It won't work for them when after that. That's just nonsense.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about really shifting a focus on world-class talent with world-class culture. That's what I'm like to see. And on the flip side of that, I think people want more options. They want more flexibility. This has been a great shift. I think I'm one of those people that sees the love, light, learnings, and goodness in everything, everyone, in every situation. And what I've seen during this difficult time, half of my community has run to the fire, leaned in and led with confidence, and they're flourishing.
Right.
The other ones became victims and entitled and listened to the news. Left and right are telling you you're a victim. Both sides are telling you you're a victim. And they started believing that crap. And so it's just the people who are leaning in and leading themselves, looking in the mirror, standing with confidence, and working on their inner and outer game every day so that then they can go lead. Those are the people that I'm seeing flourishing.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot of people buying into these fake narratives of you're a victim or you're entitled or, hey, you don't have to do anything. We've got you. And trust me, they don't have you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it goes back to, you talked about your humble beginnings. And one of the common things with a lot of entrepreneurs is that's where they started. They didn't start with, the multi-million-dollar company. They started from something that was really nothing. So Tommy, first of all, you've been amazing today. So I'm going to give you a second to come up with a final thought. I'm just going to do a little PSA here. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, for watching on YouTube, for subscribing at your favorite podcast and leaving ratings. We love those wherever you can. And so we just so appreciate you all. And we wouldn't do this without the great feedback that you give us. And obviously we track some great talent on this show, which then goes to the fact that you're listening and or watching. So Tommy, as we get ready to close it out, give us your final thought.
Yeah, my final thought is what I want you to take away is you're not alone. So whatever you're dealing with, is it lack of money, lack of success, lack of knowledge? Is it overwhelm, lack of time? Is it you're struggling in your relationship? You haven't found happiness. You want all that life can provide, but you're lost. The first thing I want you to know is that you're not alone. Some of the most successful people in the world, I've got people in my stable that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they struggle in certain parts of their lives because they had to compromise to get there. I've got people who have left their career and found their purpose and are just starting out and everything in between. But all of us struggle with insecurities, with fears, with the not good enoughs. We all struggle in our relationships. We all struggle in happiness, with our time, with our network, with our purpose. And if you don't know what your purpose is, please call me. But I want people to hear that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And what our movement gives people is the gift of going second. You hear very powerful men and women stand up and talk about where they were, what they screwed up, where they are now, where they're going, and what they're doing and what's working. That's wisdom. That's not opinions.
Yeah.
And so invest in yourself, double down in your inner game, find a community to join, and know you're not alone. And look in that mirror, participate in your own rescue. That is the problem and the solution to everything in your life.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way you ended it. So we're scrolling right now how you can get in touch with Tommy and the Legendary Life Mastermind. So please go there. He's got some amazing assets there as well for y'all to pick up on. So Tommy, again, thank you so much for your time today. I know how valuable it is. So I'm so grateful that you chose to spend 30 minutes of that valuable time with us, and you contributed at a high level. So I just truly appreciate you and grateful for all you're doing.
Pat, what an honor, brother. And here's to all of us building and living legendary lives.
Yeah, thank you so much. So as I end every show, ladies and gentlemen, be happy, be healthy, be safe until we see you again. Take care.